Hello, my name is Caitlin Brown, and I will be introducing Group 2 in our project Expanding Chipotle into China. In our group, we have myself, Caitlin Brown, Aisha Barrow, Melidia Bills, Travia Bell, and Latrice Bimden. Hello, my name is Caitlin. I'm from Southeast Georgia. I'm a college recruiter, and I enjoy spending time with my family. This is Aisha. She's from Jacksonville, Florida. She's pursuing her MBA. She's a real estate investor. She enjoys spending time with her family, traveling, sewing, and working out. This is Melita. She's from Ellenwood, Georgia. She's an HR professional. She enjoys spending time with family, relaxing, and learning new skills. This is Tavia. She works in financial technology. Outside of work, she enjoys spending time with her dogs and enjoying the little things in life. This is Detrice. She has three children. She's an RN working as a nurse manager, and in her free time, she enjoys to be with family and being outdoors. Focus on expanding Chipotle into China because of the country's size and economic influence. China has a population of over 1.4 billion people, which makes it one of the world's largest consumer markets. Major cities like Beijing and Shanghai are highly developed and continue to grow rapidly. These cities have large urban populations with increasing access to international brands and modern dining experiences. Because of this rapid development and large population, China presents a strong opportunity for Chipotle to expand into a new global market. Economically, China is a very attractive market for expansion. It has the second largest economy in the world and continues to experience urban growth and development. One major factor is the rise of the middle class, which has led to higher disposable income and increased consumer spending. As people earn more, they are willing to spend more on convenient dining options and international brands. In addition, China's fast and casual and quick service restaurant market is continuing to grow, especially in large cities. This creates an opportunity for Chipotle to enter a market where the demand for modern and convenient restaurants are continuing to grow. Culturally, China has strong food traditions that focus on rice and noodle based dishes, shared meals, and bold flavors. Dining is often seen as a social experience, especially with friends and family. Consumers also place high value on food freshness, quality, and safety, especially on past due food safety concerns. In business culture, building relationships and trust is very important to them. For Chipotle to succeed, the company would need to adapt its menu to local taste, possibly incorporate flavors that appeal to Chinese customers, and build strong relationships within the market. And understanding and respecting these cultural expectations would be key to a long term success in the industry.
Hello, my name is Melita Bills, and I am going to be talking about the challenges and opportunities with taking Chipotle to China. And so, some of the challenges that we know that we will run into is a high employee turnover rate. Even in the US, we run into a lot of turnover rates. I know I have experience in the leadership while working in a fast food industry and while working there, you have a lot of people, one, being terminated because a lot of times in the fast food industry, it is a point system. Where wherever you go, typically it is a point system when it comes to retail and fast food. So, you know, we know that we'll run into that type of challenge as we are going into China. And even while reading the article from Winter, he mentioned how it's so competitive and different jobs are opening. Different jobs are calling employees from other companies just to get them in the door, offering them more money, more benefits. So Our biggest goal is to not only bring something new to China, but also keep keep our people happy, so they won't, feel the need to leave. Innovation in HR practices is another challenge that we're running into because we're bringing our HR practices from the US into China, and we'll be running into different issues. One, learning their HR strategies and trying to, um, for them to coexist with our old, well, not really old, but our HR strategies from the US, just so that we can all be on one accord. Retention, keeping the employees happy. We know we can't please everybody, but one thing we do know is retaining good people is important. However, we know good people are always looking to grow. Um, Another challenge that we'll run into is language barriers. Having a language barrier, can run into a lot of different challenges, especially when people are trying to express themselves in a manner, and we have somebody in leadership can't understand them, or, don't understand them. Performance management, we want to make sure that we have effective um, management in place so that um, we can continue to have that trusting environment with our employees. So, you know, it's not always easy to find good managers and good leaders, in my opinion. When you're a manager, you're a leader. You're leading by example. You're not managing just to tell someone what to do, but also you just want to assist them in doing what's right. And then we go into some of the challenges is ethical and labor. Um, One, we want everybody to be treated fairly. We want to have we want to be able to provide them with the labor that they need to, make the income that they need. So, you know, again, those are some of the biggest challenges that we will run into. One being that we're going into China. Two, China has a list of job openings and people are reaching out. So some of the opportunities that we will have is access to a large labor pool, which is so many people that's looking for jobs, but of course we're looking for good people. And a lot of good people are already locked into their jobs, so we need to always be on our toes with showing up and um being very competitive when it comes to the fast food industry. Cross cultural learning opportunities. When it comes to us coming into China, of course, people will want to transfer from the US, and that is great because we're not only teaching them about China and the operation and the food safety, but they're also teaching us about their cultural and um, different knowledge that we need. Development of local leadership. Looking around, searching, in hopes, with great opportunities. To run into leaderships that is able to assist with the training, that wants to come in, that wants to work, in the fast food industry. Lower labor costs is one of the opportunities, because I want to say China get about 300, if we're talking about USD, about $300 a month, or somewhere in there. So in hopes, even with that, that is a challenge coming in because if we're coming from the US. Of course, it all depends on the revenue of the business and everything like that. But we will be able to provide a competitive pay. And then it's employer branding. which we'll be able to brand outside of the US, which will give us more opportunity to expand elsewhere. As we enter into our HR strategies, some of our recruitment strategies will be focusing on local employees and also meeting up with different high schools to see if they have like a workforce program to bring some of the seniors, juniors over to um, or that desire to want to work. We'll be reaching out to local job boards, universities, and we'll just have referral programs as well. When it comes to our training, it will definitely be a comprehensive onboarding and training program that we will be implementing and talking about, well, teaching the new hires about Chipotle food safety standards, customer service expectations, and company values. And as we get into our compensation, we would definitely offer compensation packages. Um, this would be competitive to the local market that's aligned. And we also want to be more so of a earn rice bowl type of company, which guarantees the employees the continuation of employment along with various welfare and benefits offered to them. And then another benefit which everybody get that module 4 discussed is in China how they have certain national holidays. And even with those holidays, we will try to pick at least one or two holidays to have some type of celebration, not only to celebrate their holiday, but to celebrate the employees being them. And then our last but not least is the employee relation, which Chipotle will emphasize open communication, respect, for hierarchy and team collaborations. So we will have open feedback channels, regular performance evaluation, and conflict resolution processes in place to one, stay on one accord, and to let everybody know that they're heard.
Cultural sensitivity. Cultural and social competence requires the ability to identify, respect, and adapt to diverse cultural and social standards, values, and communication styles within a group. This competence facilitates understanding, prevents misunderstandings, enables an effective integration, and fosters trust and rapport, thereby promoting an inclusive environment. Understanding cultural sensitivity, the principles of the United States and China differ in several areas, including grading system, approaches to socialism, communication practices, commercial affiliation, and religious beliefs. The overview of five key cultural dimensions grading, socialism, communication practices, commercial affiliations, and religion. In grading, the grading system reflects how society evaluates performance, achievement, and status. For example, the United States typically uses percentage based grading, while other countries may employ rank based or exam intensive systems. Socialism, the political and economic philosophy, emphasizes collective ownership and the equal distribution of resources. In such contexts, team camaraderie is often valued more highly than individual success. In communication practices, these refer to various ways people exchange information, including verbal, nonverbal, direct, and indirect methods. Distinctions are often made between high context and low context communication style. Communication affiliations. These refer to the relationships established between businesses, organizations, and external partners. And with religion, religion is defined as a system of beliefs and practice concerning spirituality and moral values. Strategies for the five key cultural dimensions. Grading. Organizations may develop a competitive grading system, leading employees to value individual recognition. Such systems influence how employees perceive feedback and evaluations. Strategies for socialism. This should be aimed to achieve economic growth and social equity. So leaders must understand organizational attitudes towards compensation structures, promotions, authority and hierarchy, and strategies for communication. The HR expatriates should implement managers with effective communication skills. Misunderstandings frequently result from differences in communication styles. Culturally insensitive leaders should always adjust their tone and delivery, avoid assuming that silence indicates agreement, and clarify the expectations in a respectful manner. In strategies for commercial affiliations, leaders must understand the following: negotiation styles, trust building expectations, corporate loyalty norms. These aspects are often expressed individually to avoid public embarrassment. Implement and encourage team based incentives. And you want to implement and consist of long term opportunities. Strategies for religions. For their religion. Respect religion holidays. Provide reasonable accommodations such as prayer breaks or scheduled adjustments, and avoid religious bias and discriminations. And you want to promote inclusive policies. When leaders understand how grading systems, socialism, communication practice, and commercial affiliations and religion influence behaviors, they can reduce conflict and increase engagement and improve organizational outcomes. China's current standards. Leaders need to be aware of cultural differences when working in China, especially regarding following the law, worker protections, unions, and dealing with the government. Leaders moving from the United States to China must shift from a focus on individual freedom in the workplace to a system with many rules and strong government control. Here we have the four focus areas are service contracts, benefit and public coverages, dissolution of job employee protection, and union and government relations. Key points under this title: they're not at will employment. Written employment contracts are mandatory. Strong government oversight. Heavily penalties for noncompliance. And extensive documentation requirements. Required participation in social programs is a must. As we move to the legal compliance strategies that we will use, we'll service contracts with the staff, employ bilingual HR staff to ensure accurate contract interpretation, develop a strong rapport with local HR and legal teams, conduct quarterly compliance audits, maintain detailed documents for all employee actions. In the benefit and public coverage, we're going to access competitive market benefit rates, ensure full compliance with contribution obligations. We're going to offer supplemental benefits to remain competitive with the private insurance and retention incentives. Dissolution of job and employee protection. We will implement structured performance management systems, train leaders on Chinese termination laws, require legal consultation before dismissal, maintain comprehensive documentation. And with the union and government relations, we'll create a structured internal system supporting localized decision making, promote qualified Chinese staff members into managerial roles, limit expatriate dominance, and provide cross cultural leadership training.
Hello, I am Aisha Barrow, and I will be reviewing the global team management, the proposed methods for managing and integrating diverse global teams, including communication and conflict resolution strategies. China represents a significant growth opportunity due to its large urban population and increasing interest in Western brands. However, managing employees in China introduces complex human resources challenges, particularly when US-based leaders, expatriates, and Chinese host countries' nationals must work together. Without a clear global HR strategy, differences in communication styles, expectations of leadership, and approaches to conflict can lead to misunderstandings and reduce performance. One of the most important challenges Chipotle will face is the contrast between US and Chinese workplace cultures. The US is generally individualistic and direct, while Chinese culture emphasizes collectivism, hierarchy, and indirect communication. In China, maintaining harmony and saving face are critical, and employees may hesitate to openly disagree with the managers. Additionally, the relationship building plays a central role in trust and cooperation at work. If Chipotle applies its US management style without adaptation, the employee engagement and collaboration could suffer. China represents a significant growth opportunity due to its large urban population and increasingly interest in Western brands. However, managing employees in China introduces complex human resource challenges, particularly when US-based leaders, expatriates, and Chinese host country nationals must work together. When it comes to China, it's not one size fits all. Regional differences have a huge impact on attitudes towards work and career. To manage these differences, Chipotle should implement structured cross-cultural communication training for expatriates and Chinese managers. This training would focus on cultural awareness, communication norms, and leadership expectations in both cultures. Chipotle should also establish clear but culturally sensitive communication channels. While US managers may prefer open discussions, Chinese employees may feel more comfortable providing feedback privately or through team leaders. Encouraging two-way communication both from headquarters to China and from local teams back to leadership helps build trust and inclusion. Effective integration requires more than communication, it requires inclusion. Chipotle should create mixed leadership teams that include both expatriates and high potential Chinese managers. This promotes knowledge sharing and signals that local talent is valued. Mentorship programs that pair U.S. leaders with Chinese employees can help transfer Chipotle's organizational culture while allowing headquarters to learn from local market insights. This approach reduces the perception of headquarters dominance and strengthens team cohesion. Conflict is inevitable in global teams, but how is it managed differs across cultures. In the US, conflict is often addressed directly, whereas in China, indirect and meditated approaches are preferred to preserve harmony. Chipotle should adapt a meditated conflict resolution process using trained managers or HR professionals to address issues privately. Providing conflict management training that emphasizes empathy, active listening, and cultural awareness will help prevent escalation and maintain strong working relationships. Employees can require their employer to establish a labor union within the company or branch. Unions must be registered with the All China Federation of Trade Unions. Union representatives are entitled to attend board meetings on HR related matters and represent employees generally. From a legal standpoint, Chipotle must comply with Chinese labor laws, which differ significantly from U.S. regulations in areas such as contracts, working hours, and termination practices. Employing local HR professionals and legal advisors in China will help ensure compliance and reinforce ethical employment practices consistent with Chipotle's brand values. Parties to labor disputes are encouraged to seek alternative dispute resolution procedures, such as consultation and mediation, prior to litigating the dispute before a court. Arbitration before the local labor arbitration commission is mandatory. After arbitration, court proceedings remain an optional except where an arbitration award is issued in relation to, you have disputes in relation to labor, remuneration, work related injury, medical fees, economic compensation, or damages which do not exceed 12 months of the standard local monthly wage, or when disputes arising from implementation of the state labor standards, such as working hours, rest and leave entitlements, and social insurance, in which case arbitration award is needed. In conclusion, Chipotle's success in China will depend on its ability to effectively manage global teams by investing in cross-cultural communication training, inclusive leadership structures, culturally appropriate conflict resolution, and strong local HR support. Chipotle can build engaged, high-performing teams that support long-term growth in the Chinese market.
In summary, Chipotle's growth plan in China presents an important opportunity for the company, but with unique global HR challenges. After studying the cultural, legal, and organizational differences between the US and China, a culturally smart global HR approach will be required for success. We will take differences in account, such as communication styles, collectivism and individualism, roles of leadership, labor laws, and unions, to ensure that Chipotle does not mistakenly employ an American model in a foreign culture. Now, we will implement a range of human resources management policies, including cross cultural communication training, mixed leadership teams, mentorship programs, third party mediation of disputes, and adherence to local labor laws in China, which together fosters inclusion, protects employee rights, ease collaboration, encourage employee engagement, and reduce operational risks. By combining its global HR strategy with local cultural and legal knowledge, Chipotle can build global teams while maintaining consistency with its brand values. This will help Chipotle secure a sustainable international market by finding a balance between the needs of global operations and the local culture of the Chinese market. Alongside developing an understanding of the market and its cultures, calculated human resources planning and integrating teams around the world proves important to Chipotle's success relating to global markets. Thank you so much for looking at our presentation. We do appreciate it.